What's up, Leafs Nation? Welcome back to another game preview. I'm Zack Phillips, and today we're going to be taking a look at game number 2 of the Toronto Maple Leafs 2024 Stanley Cup Playoff run, taking on the Boston Bruins here in the first round. And yes, the series did not get off to the start that we all would have wanted. Now, obviously, in a perfect world, you go into Boston, you go 2-0 on the road, you dummy them in the first game, you dummy them in the second game, we go back to Toronto laughing. That's not going to be the case. The Stanley Cup playoffs are the hardest playoffs in all of sports. The Stanley Cup is the hardest trophy in all of sports to win. And we all knew going into this one, this team, they were not going 16-0 to win that Stanley Cup and lift it above their head. Why would the Toronto Maple Leafs give us any easy path or allow us to just be happy and comfortable for just even the smallest amount of time? So of course they go into Boston, they get rolled 5-1 in the first game, leaving Leafs fans with the biggest pits in their stomach. You know, we were fired up all day to go into that one. We're absolutely ecstatic about the fact that we had this playoff team. I talked about it in the last game preview. We have this playoff team here. And then you get rolled 5-1 in the first game of the series. It's a tough pill to swallow. Nonetheless, it's only one game. You're down in the series 0-1, and you got to move forward. You got to continue to look ahead and just get the next one. It's not an aggregate. This isn't soccer. The goals scored in the last game, the deficit you faced in the last game, it doesn't carry over. It's one game at a time, so you keep it moving. And that's exactly what we're going to do here in today's game preview, presented by Bet365. We appreciate Bet365 for being on board, and we'll get to our best bet towards the end of the show here today, this game preview, so don't worry about that. But as for today's lineups, it looks like we're not really going to see much change for the Leafs. Samsonov takes the starting net and does his normal starting routine at Leafs Morning Skate here today. William Nylander was on the ice for the Maple Leafs, but he didn't take part in line rushes, their typical line rushes. We saw the same lineup that we saw on Saturday night in Game 1, participating in those. So Willie, game time decision here tonight. Fingers crossed that he plays, because I will be honest, we need William Nylander in the lineup, and we need him in the lineup in a bad way. He's not going to make or break this series. This Leafs team should be able to get it done without him regardless. If you're going to be the best team, you're going to be the best team. You can't make excuses here. I don't want to hear it. You're in year 9, no more excuses. That being said, from a fan standpoint, on the road, your ability to line match out there, where you're going to have the Bruins going out and having last change, they can put out whoever they want. It makes it a lot harder for Boston if Nylander is on your third line. If Nylander is in this lineup, it's much more difficult to match up against, and it makes your power play just that much more lethal, which had struggled there in Game 1. You get zeros across the board from Matthews, Marner, and Tavares. It's not good enough. You obviously can't blame Nylander because he's not in the lineup, but he's a guy who can make an impact and could get himself on the board, get that third line on the board. So without William Nylander here tonight, I have concerns about this Leafs team. It's yet to be seen whether he's going to be in or not. He did stay on the ice after the morning skate and skated with the scratches, which doesn't necessarily feel the greatest, but the fact that he was at least on the ice, I don't know. Maybe I'm just hopeful, optimistic, but I'm praying that he plays. Fingers crossed that William Nylander plays. The other news here today, there was a lot of concern. Will the lines change? Nope. No line changes out of the rushes here this morning. The other one would be, and we talked about it with Rosie in the postgame show on Saturday, will TJ Brodie re-enter this lineup? As of morning skate, at least, it looks like he will not. Sheldon Keefe did not have him back into the lineup, and I don't think that you need to. In reality, that's one of the least shots on goal or shot chances and attempts that we faced all season long from the Bruins in Game 1 there. Your defense, I don't really think, was the problem. You gave up some decent opportunities on special teams. You got to eliminate some of those. I don't think TJ Brodie is eliminating those. I think everyone was a little bit too excited. You're gripping your sticks a little bit too tight. There were some bad mistakes that were made, but I don't think it was all in all a bad game defensively from this team. You need more offense. You can't have your only goal be scored by the fourth line. So the idea of TJ Brodie going back in here and being a savior, I just don't think it's it. I don't think that that's the direction that you want to look. Goaltending for the Boston Bruins. We know nothing. We have no idea what's going on. Jim Montgomery's out here telling the media, I don't tell my wife who's going to play in net. Why would I tell you who's going to play in net? I'm just going to assume it's going to be Jeremy Swayman. A, he owned the Leafs all year. B, he owned the Leafs in game one. C, why would you want to take that momentum away? That being said, the only reason that I would think there might be any possibility of them switching things up and going to Linus Ullmark would be the fact that last year, they struggled when they tried to ride one guy in the playoffs, and they talked about after the fact that it was a mistake, and they should have swapped back and forth just like how they did in the regular season. That's the only reason that I would say it's not a guarantee that Jeremy Swayman plays here tonight, but let's be real, Leafs fans. If you're going to look at these two guys and say, oh, I want one or I want the other, you're just screaming into a void because it doesn't really matter. Linus Ullmark was like, what are we talking about? You think this guy's a drop-off from Jeremy Swayman? Come on. It doesn't really matter who's in net. Get it done. Don't get goalied. Find a way to put the puck in the back of the net. I don't care who's in that net. Now, let's get to our best bets portion of the segment of the show, and that's going to take us to Bet365. I'm thrilled to welcome Bet365 as Leafs Nation After Dark sports betting partner just in time for the 2024 playoffs. We'll be here with Bet365 to provide you all the news, analysis, lines, and betting options for the playoffs. Bet365 is the largest sports betting platform globally. Open an account with Bet365 today and use promo code TLNBonus. That's TLNBonus to bet on a huge range of markets. So whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Make sure to check out Bet365 for all your betting needs. As for today, what we're going to be looking at here and today's best bet, I'm going to be taking a look into a player prop market here yet again. Yes, surprise, surprise. If you've been watching if you've been watching the betting show, you've known that I've only given out a side or a total once here on the show. That was a little while ago when it was looking at a Leafs -1.5 against Montreal Canadiens. But I mean, look, you want to talk about a place to be betting at. Look at this Bet365 screen. This is easy to use, easy to operate, easy to integrate. Head on over to Bet365. We're going to click into the Leafs Bruins game. Head on over to the player props tab. Scroll down to the bottom, and we're going to go to the power play points portion of the Bet365 website. And guess what? We're going Tyler Bertuzzi to record a power play point for a quarter unit. I'm going $25 on this one to return $125. That's a profit of $100 on this bet if it happens. Now, look, obviously at a plus 400, the implied probability would tell us that it's not going to happen. It's not likely to happen. But what I would say to you here is Tyler Bertuzzi was practicing on the first power play unit this morning, as he should have been. He's replacing Calle Jarnkrok. He's going to go to the front of the net. This guy is a power play player. He was around it in game one. I had bet on him anytime goal scorer plus 300. I stand by the fact that that was a good bet. He's plus 250 here today on Bet365, but I don't want to go into that market again. I don't want to go into the goal scorer market. I want to be involved with the power play because that was a shitty power play, and I think part of it was the fact that you had Calle Jarnkrok out there who hadn't played in 6 weeks. No offense to him, but why don't you put Tyler Bertuzzi, who was a mutant in the playoffs on the power play for the Bruins last year, and play him maybe more than 1 minute of power play time in the game here tonight? He's getting that opportunity on the first unit. He's going to go to the front of the net. He's going to bang bodies. He's going to battle for space. He's going to get himself in the mix. And I think that there's going to be a good opportunity for him to get on the board on a power play here tonight. Plus 400 on Bet365. Like, look how easy it is. Look how easy it was to find that. Plus 400 Tyler Bertuzzi power play point. That is my best bet. Quarter unit, $25, returns $125. So, thank you to Bet365. Make sure to head on over there for all of your betting needs for tonight's game. Look, again, what it's going to come down to for me to simplify everything is this. Can the big boys get it done? I came in hot on the postgame show on Saturday night. I was upset. I was frustrated that these guys did not get it done again, that the result was the way that it was. And you know what? I agree with Rosie to an extent in that they didn't play that bad. We heard Nick and Rosie talk about it on the morning show here today as well. They didn't play that bad. But again, and Nick reiterated it, Marner, Matthews, Tavares. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 across the board. No goals, no assists, no points for those guys. The power play stinks. The power play can't get it done. You want to get paid that money. You want to be the big boys. You want to be recognized as the best players in the league. It's time to get it done. This is when it matters the most. We need those guys to show up. Your fourth line cannot be the most effective line that you have in that type of game. It just can't be. I know they were on for a goal against, but other than that, they were very, very good. And I kept looking at them being like, they're putting pressure on. They're creating chances. You need the big boys to step up. That's what it's going to come down to for me here tonight. I have no other real way of looking at it. I mean, look, I tried to look into some angles about how this Leafs team is in game twos in the playoffs in the Matthews era. 4-4. They're 500. You start off this series 0-1. You need to split here in Boston. Otherwise, there is panic setting in going back home. 4-4 in game twos since 2017, the Matthews era here. There's no narrative to look into. It's not like I'm taking away that, oh, this team dominates in game twos. It'll be even. It's just not that. It's not that type of vibe here tonight. It's a coin flip as to whether or not they'll win. Historically in the playoffs in game twos, it's a coin flip here tonight. It feels like if Nylander's in the lineup, if he's out, it's shaded a little bit towards Boston, which is fair. Get it done, boys. Do not go back home 0-2 because this fan base will be in shell shock if that happens. There will be implosion discussions. We cannot have that. I do not want that. We got to go on a run. Let's get it done here tonight. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in. Drop a comment below. Let us know your thoughts on tonight's game, how you think this one plays out, if the Bruins are going to clean up. Will William Nylander play? What would you have done with the goaltenders? Are you happy that Ilya Samsonov is playing or not? I want to hear it all, so make sure to drop that in there. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in here. We will see you all after the final buzzer following Game 2 of the Toronto Maple Leafs first-round series against the Boston Bruins, and we will be joined by Nick Alberga to break it all down. We will see you all for Leafs Nation After Dark. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos, make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, and drop a like.